a little bit about what's going on, uh, and just kind of provide updates because it's not like a one-time, one-and-done kind of thing either, right? Even if you know what your digester is, or you think you know what the digester you're going to get is, the legislation around is constantly changing. So, past 9 months, it's been a deluge. It's just been a crazy amount of new legislation that has come out. And some legislations are good and some are not so good for our purposes. And it's good for us to know how these legislations are going to influence our business models, whichever business model we are going to. So we thought that it'd be good for us to start off today with an educational series, and you'll see farmers joining in this from Connecticut, Greg Baracchio, Paul Walcott from New York, and lots of new farmers from New York that we touched with. John Patterson said, AJ Wormus, lots of, and then we have a lot of folks from Texas and some folks from Michigan, some from Pennsylvania. So this is kind of a broader, we think, gosh, because of COVID, these video calls have become pretty popular, and I think everybody's becoming very savvy in these. And why not reach out as much as possible and learn about various legislations and various things that are moving our market. We do have a bit more specific focus on New York today because New York just came out with their scoping plan. So a little bit more focus on New York today. So there might be I do think, though, it's good for everybody to hear what New York's doing. We keep hearing what California is doing. It's good to hear what New York's doing because I think New York's plan is quite robust. And a lot of people were hoping that people will follow California's plan, but I have a feeling people will follow New York's plan. So anyway, as we learn more about what's going on, we want to educate everybody because more educated everybody is, the less mystery there is around these things. And that's good for all of us. So with that, I'll kick it off to Abu.
Yeah, thanks, Rashi. Sounds good. I think, what we wanted to do first is to just go around and do some introductions here with some of the farmers and all of our other attendees here as well. Just if you could introduce yourself. I'm going to pass it over to Ken Verhelli to sort of pick on people, but if you could introduce yourself, your organization, and then one pressing question that you might have about the biogas industry that you're keen on learning today or having answered today, and we'll try and address that during our discussion.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks everybody for giving us the time today. We're hoping that this is going to be something that'll help everybody on the calls, and it'll definitely help us if we get some good feedback on, with questions and really what you're looking for. I'm going to run down the list of attendees. Some of them are phone numbers, so if I tell you the phone number, if you can let us know who you are and who you represent and maybe a question or so, that would be great. The first one I have is 518 and ends in 98. You're on mute, by the way. All right. Well, I'll go. Everybody's met Abu. I've got AJ Wormuth.
Yep. Good morning, AJ Wormuth, Half Full Dairy. 1,800 cows at 3 different locations. Would just like to know if electric will be as competitive as natural gas.
Okay. Thank you. Andrew.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Andrew Ferguson, Director of Business Development with Agrid. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and really looking forward to hearing from all of our speakers, as well as hearing from everybody attending what people want to know, what they need to know to make informed decisions about getting into the biogas.
Thank you. Angela George.
Hello, I'm a technician with ProDairy at Cornell with the Dairy Environmental Systems team. And I guess the question I have is, do you see currently biogas to RNG paid more than electricity? Do you see that maybe flip-flopping in the future as more farms go to RNG instead of electricity?
Thank you. Good question. Brian Huntsman?
Yeah, Brian Kuntzman, Arjoy Farms, Cochranville. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're milking about 750. All that manure is going into a DVO style methane digester. I think I'm curious if this gas is just a bubble or is electric coming up? You know, what's the deal there? And just interested in hearing what the talk is right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah Nesbitt?
Good morning. I'm Deborah Nesbitt with Live Oak Bank based out of Wilmington, North Carolina. We're a nationwide lender focusing on bioenergy projects. We utilize USDA's guaranteed loan programs, the Rural Energy for America program. And shout out to all you dairy farmers there. I grew up on a dairy farm here in Western North Carolina. My dad was small, but at the time, fairly large. 30 years ago, milked about 175 Holstein. I still live on the farm, although it's not an operating dairy, but I have a real passion for farmers like you and appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Greg Baracchio?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Greg Baracchio from Hightone Farm in Coventry, Connecticut. We're in the nearing the end of the construction phase on our digester. It's full, it's heating currently. So hopefully in the next 30 days or so, we'll be making gas out of there. We're currently milking about 375 cows, and this facility will be taking in food waste, so we're on the electric side of the gas production. And I guess my focus would be I'm interested in the potential for the electric usage from these types of digesters growing in the future, as well as how food waste will be managed and the potential for managing food waste through digesters, and what the potential opportunities are there coming down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Jason Oliver?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jason Oliver. I work with Lauren, basically running the Pro Dairy Environmental Systems team. I have a background in ag engineering and applied microbiology. I've worked quite a bit in digester systems and biogas cleanup systems. I guess one question I would have is I'd be interested to learn more about these sort of manure sale agreements that farms are lining up with some of the AD developers and what that looks like at different operations.
Thank you. John Vanderpool?
Yeah, good morning. I have a dairy in West Texas, milking about 4,000 cows, and more interested, I guess, in options for open lot dairies and other uses for gas other than just carbon credit.
Okay, thank you. John Patterson.
Yeah, John Patterson from Patterson Farms in Auburn, New York. Operated a complete mixed digester from 2005 to 2019. Shut that down and decommissioned it. Currently, we're milking 1,800 cows, and I really would like to know how do I sort out which of these people that come to the door is going to work out best for the farm.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Lauren Ray.
Hi, everyone. Lauren Ray. I'm an ag sustainability and energy engineer with Cornell Pro Dairy program. So I work with Jason Oliver and Angela George. Peter Wright as well, who I believe can't make it today. So many of you know Peter Wright. And so I will be speaking a little later on the New York State scoping plan. And I think I'll be able to give give you quite a bit of insight into at least, obviously, New York State's plan for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. That does talk a lot about electricity use versus gas use, and so I think that's important to keep in mind. And there's quite a bit in that plan that's, I think, giving us a better direction on where anaerobic digestion could play a role. And so I guess today I'm really interested in what all of the farmers are, what their questions are, so that we can keep helping with assistance to answer those.
Thank you, Lauren. Paul Wolcott?
Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Wolcott from Lent Hill Dairy Farm, and we're in western New York. I have been involved one way or another with renewable energy for 20 years now. There are 13 windmills on our property. I started 5 years ago discussing digesters. I spent 2 years trying to do, pardon? I spent 2 years trying to do a gas project that ended up being a dead-end street. We couldn't get any California money, and actually it was just kind of serendipity. I had known Rashi from a phone discussion a few years earlier, and she called me about 2 weeks after we knew we weren't going to do a gas project, and that was the start of our relationship. So we have set up, we are currently under construction on a project with AgGrid Energy. We're started in late September, and we're going to do a cogeneration with food waste and make electricity. I'm not sorry that we're not doing gas. I think that most of the news that I read that the future is going to be in electric projects. So I'm glad we're doing that. But Rashi and Abu will both tell you that we've got some pretty heavy duty challenges with transmission here in New York and actually getting this electricity sold. But we're looking forward to getting our project finished, and we should be generating electricity maybe in the end of September. And AgGrid has been good to work with. Live Oak has been good to work with, and I'm excited about what we're doing.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Rashi?
Yes, so I'm Rashi Aki. I started AgGrid Energy in 2016. Nobody was really talking about about digesters at that time. It was a bit of a lull in the industry, and lo and behold, we are here today, and it's become somewhat of a hot place to be at. I don't really appreciate the heat too much, to be very honest with you. I'd rather we be thoughtful and diligent about what we are doing. I know it is a little bit about money for sure, but it's about doing the right thing more so for me. And that's why our eyes are always on the very long term. And I think the way we are setting up our projects, we are a family business. We know farmers are family businesses, and we want our families to do well in the long term, both from financial as well as environmental point of view. So that's kind of our approach, and I look forward to working with. We have had a great time working with the farmers that we have worked with, Paul, Greg, who are online here, and we hope to have a great time working with future farms too. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Rashi. I've got Supernormal Al 3 times on the list.
That's the recording. That's the recording.
Okay, good deal. Terry McCullen?
So Terry, I think his mic isn't working, but he's typed up a few responses here. So Terry's from McClellan's Agronomics. It's an agronomic environmental consulting office focused on working with New York farms, developing compliance plans to meet New York State CAFO objectives. And they're located in Lowville, New York. And it looks like there's a question he's added to. With the import of food waste, what type of nutrient content would be expected to be added to the waste stream? mass nutrient balances seem to be playing a larger role in how farm sustainability is being viewed by environmental groups.
That's good. Good deal. Thanks. Wendy?
Oh, sorry, I was playing with the button for about 2 minutes. My name is Wendy Martin. I'm an energy partner consultant. I've been working with farms for 15 years. We helped to convert 8 of the digesters in New York from electricity to renewable natural gas. Actually, the last one just launched in, I think, September, October. So my curiosity is I work with about 500 farms in New York State, and I'm trying to figure out the balance of they're always asking me if they can do projects pertaining to, digesters, but I just don't know what the new shift is going to be pertaining to the regulations in New York State. Is it going to be gas? Is it going to be electric? So that's what I'm curious about, because I know you guys have been researching that.
Great, thank you. Abu?
So Abu Aki with Agrid Energy, started here about 2 years ago, but had my fingers in the digester industry since 2016 when Rashi started the company. I definitely am interested in farmers' perspectives really today, and what are the biggest holdups? What are the biggest hangups in wanting to move forward with digester projects? And just interested in your questions, really, so that we can better be prepared to do some research and have a better understanding in our knowledge of how to gauge our pitch to everybody. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the discussion.
Great, thanks. And my name is Ken Verhelli, and I'm the Director of Food Waste Strategies for Agrid. Background, I've got about 40 years in the waste and recycling business throughout the Northeast. Been involved with food waste recycling now for the last 3 years. Joined the team back in April. Really excited about what we're doing, and I really love working with the farms. So look forward to talking with everybody. So thanks for being here. And I don't think I missed anybody, did I?
I think Dave might have joined late. So Dave, did you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure, I can go quickly since I'll be presenting, but I'm Dave Lindenmuth, Renewable Natural Gas Services Director at Eco Engineers. Eco Engineers is a consulting and audit firm really focused on the renewable fuel space and has expertise in the carbon credit markets that supply a lot of the revenue for these projects. So be covering a bunch of those topics.
Sounds great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dave. So before we go ahead and get started with our main presentations, Agrid just wanted to do a little bit of a presentation, a brief overview of our company and some of the projects that we've been working that we've started up here in the past few years, but then also what we've got in our pipeline as well. So Ken, Andrew, and I are going to try and tackle this and try and keep it brief so we can move on to the main event. So as Rashi had said, Agrid Energy was started back in 2016 with the sole purpose and the goal of helping small to mid-sized dairy farms become not only environmentally sustainable but also economically sustainable. With the shifts in the industry towards consolidation, those that are still happening today, we really wanted to provide an additional revenue stream for these dairies. And our focus again is on those mid-sized dairies. So where our current focus is for 300 to 2,000 milking cows, we would plan on doing a biogas to electricity facility. And with a larger size dairy, maybe a 2,000 to a 5,000 milking cow, we would be focusing on an RNG facility. Now, the winds are changing and they're always changing. And so, there are so many different factors that come into developing a digester that we're still working through as well. And as certain states have changes and the country on a federal level has regulation changes, electricity is really our bread and butter and where we like to end up. All of our existing facilities are electricity, and we are currently working on one RNG project, which we will talk about here in a little bit. But electricity is really where we like to hang out. So this is just a basic overview of simplified biogas process flow. So we've got our waste input, which is animal waste, cow manure, and then a majority of our projects and where we like to focus, we also like to introduce food waste and have a co-digestion facility. So we bring in source-separated organics, such as fats, oils, and greases, organic slurry, and we've also been working and toying with packaged organics. We've got a depackaging facility attached to one of our dairy projects as well, where we bring in food waste that's gone bad off the shelves, that's wrapped in plastic, and needs to be depackaged. And that slurry is then fed into the anaerobic digester. So the digestate that comes out of the anaerobic digester can be converted into a solid or a liquid portion. The liquid can be used as fertilizer, and the solid can be used as animal bedding back on the dairy farm. And of course, the gas portion will be either upgraded to renewable natural gas or converted to electricity in a CHP system. So we are currently located primarily in the Northeast. So our three existing facilities, Rockwood Agrid, Belden Agrid, and Fort Hill Agrid, which are all digesters, are located in Massachusetts and Connecticut, respectively. And we have our Rockwood Agrid Organics, which is our existing depackaging facility that's attached to the Rockwood Agrid project. Then we currently have two projects under construction, Hightone Agrid, Lent Hill Agrid as well. And as Greg had mentioned, Hightone is being filled right now, so it's pretty close to being started up. Then we've got a few other projects that are in the pipeline. We've got a project out in California that we're working on, a project in Michigan, as well as a project in Pennsylvania. So just to delve in a little bit to each of these projects, Fort Hill Agrid started up in January of 2021 with a capacity of 550 kilowatts. And this is another co-digestion facility, so we're introducing food waste along with the manure. You can see in the back here, we've got a solid separator so that the dairy can use some of those solids for animal bedding. And then the liquid portion will go back into this covered lagoon here that can just be used as fertilizer whenever the farm needs. And we introduce anywhere from 10 to 14,000 gallons per day of food waste at this facility. Belden Agrid, which is our second facility, started operation back in 2019 with a capacity of 300 kilowatts. And I think at each of these facilities, what we're finding now is that we actually have too much gas. So we already have plans for expansion, the expansion of a larger engine at each of these facilities. So again, this farm also introduces manure and 12,000 gallons per day of food waste. And you can see that we've done some projects with varying cow numbers. This one was 180. Fort Hill is 220. So we're able to make these projects pencil out at these smaller dairy sizes as well. And then our first project, Rockwood Agrid, started in 2019 as well with a 450 kilowatt engine, introducing manure from 400 milking cows and approximately 12,000 gallons per day of food waste. And we're also planning an expansion at this facility. And then I think I'm going to pass it over to Ken to talk a little bit about the depackaging unit.
Thank you. Yeah, we believe in food repurposing, and there's a hierarchy out there for food repurposing. First is donation for human consumption. Next is for animal feed, and then animal feed. Then I think the anaerobic digestion comes into play and capture that methane from the actual food waste, and then after that is going to be compost. But the machine that you'll see in this picture here is a Scott's Thor And the way this unit works is you just pick up the packaged food waste and you put it in the bin. And there's two conveyor screws that are turning against each other that actually slices open some of the packaging and cans and what have you. Then it goes into a bunch of hammers where the water actually rinses the food waste off of the packaging. The slurry goes down and the packaging is then separated. The reason this is really important is what we've realized is that this food waste is really rich in material that'll make a lot of really good methane. So, not only are we recycling and reusing this food waste in a positive way, but we're turning it into something really important. So, yeah, this is the unit. We do about 50 ton a day of packaged food waste through this facility, and it's probably one of the better electric producers we have. You're on mute, Boo.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ken. And then I'm going to pass it over to Andrew to talk about High Tone and Meadowbrook.
Thanks, Abu. And thanks, Greg, for joining us as well. We're working with Greg on heating the digester at the moment and getting to start gas production in the next 30 days. So this will be the first sand project. So with the McClanahan sand separation system in there, as well as a new digester design that allows for ease in clean out when the time comes to remove the collection of sand from the bottom of the tank. It's a little different than our previous projects in terms of the design. As you'll see, there's a second cover on the top, a domed rather than a floating cover. And this will all be going to power a 550 kilowatt engine, and we're already planning for an expansion to be able to put in a similar depackaging site as at Rockwood and putting in a second 550 kilowatt engine. And our first RNG project that we're working on over in Michigan in between Lansing and Grand Rapids, this will be a true community project in that 3 farms are participating as part of this project at a central host facility where we'll be bringing manure as well as food waste. So this project will be producing both RNG as well as heat and power. And we aim to be up and running by the end of next year. Gas to grid.
And then finally, our Lent Hill Agrid project, which is located in Cohocton, New York, and Paul Wolcott himself has joined us here today, so we're excited to have him part of the discussion as well. This facility is also an electricity facility. We're installing 2 digesters currently, and as I said, we're under construction. We started construction back in August, but of course had to take a break for the winter, so we're starting back up here in the spring, and we'll plan on bringing this digester online sometime this fall. And this project is the potential to generate approximately 2 megawatts. We're bringing in food waste from local creameries, a local yogurt manufacturing facility, so along with the manure from the dairy farm. And I think this has definitely been a test, as Paul had alluded to earlier as well, as to just the issues with some of the infrastructure in New York, and I think that that's a trend across the country as well. So that is a challenge as we're developing projects as well. And I just wanted to put in a little plug to some of our key partners. So we use a debt financing model with Live Oak, and for practically all of our projects, we have worked hand in hand with Live Oak in the trenches with us. So we really thank them for everything that we've been able to do thus far. Also, we use Martin Construction Resource and Martin Energy Group with all of our projects thus far, and they're a great EPC, a great resource for us, and great partners as well. And we just plan on growing that partnership and that relationship as we're moving forward. Also, last April, almost a year ago, UGI Energy Services purchased a third of Agrid Energy. And so they have been a critical partner for us, especially as we delve a little bit more into the RNG space and, of course, the new electricity credit space as well. They're a great sounding board as well. And then the USDA, we look to the USDA for loan guarantees as well as our REAP grants for each of our projects. And then we've got several key food waste partners up in the Northeast, and we're growing those relationships as well as we try and secure more food waste in the Northeast for our projects. And then, of course, I couldn't forget our dairy farm partners. That is really, they really make our projects go. People like Paul, people like Greg, we definitely look to them and look at them as partners in this endeavor. So grateful for them.